Hi, everybody. We're doing quadratics and we're looking at a function table. I have it in a preview, so I'm really looking forward to this one. It's going to be a surprise. This is the BB.3. Let's take a look and see what they gave us. We're probably going to be substituting in some values. So we're supposed to find f of r, which is r squared. So in every case, we're going to be squaring the r values that they give us. Remember that f of r means that you're going to take the r squared and you're going to substitute values. Sorry, it's kind of funky looking. There we go. And you're going to substitute values instead of r. So I'm going to put in the -2 and square it, which is 4. And then that's going to be 4, positive 4. And 0 squared is 0. And 2 squared is 2 times 2, which is 4. And 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is 16. There might be some more interesting ones coming, so we'll do those for now. Notice that the most important one, of course, is this one. And I want to caution you, if you stick this into calculator, you get this, which is true. Unfortunately, that is the incorrect answer for -2 squared inside parentheses. And the difference is this. This says -2 times 2. That's what this thing says, which is -4. -2 squared says -2 times -2, which is positive 4. And they are very different things. I still remember I was mad at my teachers because I missed that problem on the SAT when I was in high school. There you have it. Okay. This time we're going to take k squared and subtract 1. So I'm going to do the first one, and I'm going to call it f of k. And notice that the k is inside parentheses. That's an important idea because we're going to take this k value and we're going to replace the k with it. And I'm going to start with -1. -1 squared is 1, and 1 minus 1 is 0. So this is 0. This is going to be -1, because 0 squared is 0 minus 1. And 1 squared is 1 minus 1, which gives you 0. And 2 squared is 4 minus 1, which gives you 3. So hopefully all those are clear enough. If they're getting a little more complicated, maybe I'll substitute them in a little bit. Let's substitute a couple of these in. So f of u is equal to, well, that looks bad. F of u, that's what that says, not f u, minus 3u. Okay, so we have a -2 squared minus 3 times -2. Recognize, hopefully, that that means this. Notice that I replaced the u with the -2 inside parentheses. And the parentheses are important because without parentheses, remember, that is a -4. But in this case, -2 squared is positive 4. And -3 times -2 is positive 6. So that does give us 10. Now we're also going to do -1. -1 squared is 1 plus 3, which gives us 4. So I'm going to put the 4 in there. I did a little bit of shorthand there. Now 0 substituted in gives us 0, because 0 squared is 0 minus 0 is still 0. And 1 is going to give us a different answer than we got with the -1. And here's the reason. I put 1 squared minus 3 times 1. Remember, that's not 2, that's 1 times 1 minus 3, which is -2. There we go. This time we're going to put in 4w squared. I'm only going to do one of them in, officially. F of -2 is equal to 4 times -2 squared. That's going to be careful. You don't multiply first. You have to square first. Remember order of operations. So a common mistake here is to multiply first and then square that answer. What you want to do is square first, which is positive 4. And 4 times 4, of course, is 16. So this is going to be 16. And then we're going to square the negative 1, which is going to give us 4, because we have a positive 1 when we square it. This one is going to give us 0, because when you take 0 times 4, you still get 0. And 1 is going to give us positive 4. Notice that the 1 and the negative 1 had the same answer. And that's one of the things that they were talking about when they talk about the idea of having a line of symmetry where the 1 behaves just like the negative 1. And that's one of the reasons why that works. Anyway, more information than you wanted. Let's stick to the function table. Well, we're just going to square these guys. So that's going to be 1. 0 squared is 0. 1 squared is 1. 2 squared is 4. 2, we're going to square it and then double it. Remember, the square comes first. So we square it, which is 4, and double it gives us 8. 0 squared is 0. Doubled is still 0. 2 is going to give us the same as the negative 2. There's no q term. So negative 2 and positive 2 gives us the same answer. And 4 squared is 16. Doubled is 32. Okay, now this gives us a little bit of pause here, and I want you to be careful. There's negatives and then there's negatives. So let's deal with the first one and then we'll deal with all the rest, okay? I'm going to make a statement which is going to sound a little strange. Negative x squared will always be negative, no matter what. And here's how I know that. It's for the same reason that this will always give me a negative solution, because the absolute value will always be positive, and because it has a negative in front of it, the answer will always be negative, or 0, sorry. Same thing is true for this. You see, a squared term will always be positive, but because it's got that negative hanging out in front of it, that answer will always be negative. So just something to keep in mind. Now I should have put an X there. Now I'm going to replace the X with the negative 9. That's negative 9 squared, and then minus 5 times negative 9. And here's where people have trouble. That double negative, you're going to be tempted to make that a positive, and you can't. And the reason is because that negative is inside parentheses that's being squared. So they're separated from that subtraction out in front. Another way of thinking about this is that this is the same as negative 1 times negative 9 squared. See this? I can't do this first. I have to do the square part first. And anyway, so hopefully that's clear. That's going to be 81 with a negative in front of it. Negative 5 times negative 9 is positive 45. And when we add those together, I believe we get negative 36, don't we? And there's our solution for f of negative 9. Now, some people are going to want to use their calculator for this. You're going to want to use your Desmos or something. I don't recommend it. I think that this is a good place to practice. I'm going to take negative 7 squared is 49 with a negative in front of it. And then I'm going to take the negative 7 times a negative 5 and get 35. And when you add those together, hopefully you can get it. It's negative 14. Then I'm going to do the same thing with negative 5. I'm going to have negative 5 squared is 25 with a negative in front. And then I'm going to multiply negative 5 times negative 5 and get my 0. Sorry, that's maybe not clear, but there's where I got that from. I'm kind of running out of space. I'll put the last part down at the bottom. I'll write it all the way out too. So this part gives you -9, and this part gives you +15, which is going to be 6. Hopefully I didn't make any dumb arithmetic errors, and there you have it. We're just completing the tables. Oh, now we're just going to subtract 6. So this one's a lot easier. 4 squared is 16 minus 6 is 10. 4 minus 6 is -2. 0 minus 6 is -6. And 4 minus 6 is -2. And hopefully all that's clear. W squared minus 2w. Well, if we put 0 in there, we're just going to get 0, aren't we? And 1 minus 2 is -1. And 4 minus 4 is 0. And 9 minus 6 is 3. So hopefully you can see where I got those numbers from. And I think it's good practice to do mental arithmetic. Now in this case, we've got that trinomial, so we're going to have a little more trouble here. I'm going to go ahead and write it next to it. I'm going to write the 25 minus 35 plus 3, which is going to be -7, isn't it? Because that's -10. Now my next one is going to be 9 minus 21 plus 3. Well, that's -12 plus 3, which gives me -9. This one is going to be 1 minus 7 plus 3, which is going to be -3. And this last one is going to be 1 plus 7 plus 3, which is going to be 11. I don't think I made any errors on that one. Hopefully not. Okay. This time we're going to take 4d squared minus 5. So I'm going to take the d squared in my head and multiply it by the 4. That gives me 4 minus 5. And then I'm going to have a 0 minus 5. And then I'm going to have another 4 minus 5. And then I'm going to have a 4 times 4 is 16 minus 5. So that's -1. That's -5. That's -1. And that's 11. There we go. -6k squared. I think we can do this one okay. -6 times 1 is -6. -6 times 0 is 0. The 1 is the same as the -1, isn't it? It's going to give us -6. And -6 times 4 is -24. And -6 times 4, yep, there it is. This one I might want to write on the side. So I'm going to take 2 times 49 minus 56. Then I'm going to take 2 times 36, which is 72, minus 48. And then I'm going to take 50 minus 40. I'm just putting the -5 in. And then I'm putting in the -4, which gives me 32 minus 32. Be careful. Notice that all of these are always positive because a +2 times a v squared will always, this will always be positive, won't it? Well, this is 98, and I'll just write it right there so I can see it better. 98 minus 56 is 42, isn't it? And 72 minus 48 is 24. Yes, it is. 50 minus 40 is 10. And 32 minus 32 is 0. And I'm just going to check this one real quick. 72 minus 48. I did it in my head, but occasionally I do something weird. So 8 from 12 is 4. And 4 from 6 is 2. So yeah, it looks good. I encourage you to practice your arithmetic. I think it's always good practice. The thing is, some of you who are thinking ahead of college are going to have to take a thing called the AccuPlacer. And the AccuPlacer does not allow you to use a calculator. And a lot of you are going to rely on that calculator over and over again, and you're going to lose your arithmetic skills. And when you take the AccuPlacer, they're going to place you, if you can't do basic arithmetic, in a remedial math course. I used to teach remedial math, so I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, practice is good. This is going to be 1 minus 2. I'm just going to go ahead and put them in my head. I'm just putting in the w squared plus 2 times w. So this is going to be 0 plus 0. This one is going to be 1 plus 2. And this one is going to be 4 plus 4. So that's a negative 1, a 0. Oh, darn it. Let me get rid of this real quick here. Here we go. Sorry about that. That's a 0. This one's a 3. And I believe this one's going to be an 8. I don't think I made any mistakes there. I'm trying to be a little bit careful. All right, that negative 3c squared will always be negative. And I talked to you about why. We're doing this. So what I'm going to do is in my head, I'm going to put these values into squared and multiply them by the negative 3. Remember, I'm always going to get a negative number out. 25 times negative 3 is negative 75. Negative 3 squared is 9 times negative 3 is negative 27. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. And negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. So I'm just taking the 9 times negative 3 right there. And in this one, I'm taking the 25 times negative 3. It looks good. So we have a negative 76, a negative 28, a negative 4, and another negative 4. I believe that looks good. Okay, this one's a little more interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and substitute in my head. So I'm going to square it. Then I'm going to multiply the u times the negative 8. And then I'm going to add the 10. So I'm just going to write down the values right here. That's going to be 4 minus 32 plus 10. The 10 always goes at the end. Then I'm going to have 9 minus 24 plus 10. And then I'm going to have the 16 minus 32 plus 10. And then I'm going to have the 25 minus 40 plus 10. So there's some work to do yet. This one is going to be negative 18, isn't it? Because 4 and negative 32 makes negative 28, doesn't it? And add the 10. This one's going to be negative 15 plus 10 is negative 5. And I'm going to add it in a different way. Yes, it is, negative 5. Okay. And this one is going to be negative 16 plus 10, which is negative 6. Looks kind of weird, but that the values would do this, but that's what happens. 5 is going to give us negative 15 plus 5, which is negative 5. Notice that we have some symmetry going on here. It looks like 4 might just be our vertex. Just a thought. Negative b over 2a does give us 4. So x equal to 4 is our vertex, and 4 negative 6 will be the one we're looking at. Anyway, we have a negative 18, a negative 5, a negative 6, and a negative 5. I think that's good. I don't think I made any errors. Oh no, what did I do? Which one did I mess up? Oh man, how could I mess that up? Oh, oh no, what did I do? What? Oh, dang, I don't know what. I'm so dumb. It was -8, wasn't it? Sorry, guys. I think I put -8 on my first term. But anyway, there we have it. Darn it. I got to be more careful. I'm going to probably start again. I did it again. I escaped out. Hopefully, you'll do some of your um, tables, and I'm going to show you how to do it with your Desmos too. So nothing like proving myself that I need to practice some more. So anyway, I will see you back again, and I'll put